This is Rishi Sharma doing an oral history. Sir, it's an honor to meet you. If you could please go ahead and say hello and introduce yourself with your full name.
Hello, my name is Eugene Castelli.
Where and when were you born?
I was born in Bronx, New York on September 17th, 1924. I am now 96 years of age, and I hope in 2 months I'll be 97, the Lord willing.
Hopefully, and then hopefully 100, and then 105.
I go for that.
Sir, if you could tell us for the record, what branch of the service were you in?
United States Army Infantry.
And what specific units were you in?
I was with the 15th Regiment, nicknamed Can Do, CAN-DO, of the 3rd Infantry Division, 15th Regiment.
In what company?
E Company, 15th Regiment.
What was your specific job in Company E?
I was a BAR, Browning Automatic Rifleman. And it was the VAR, I shot expert in basic training as well as a machine gun. So I was not surprised when I was assigned to the 3rd Division, E Company, that they needed a BAR man. They told me what happened to the other one prior when they handed me his rifle. He was wounded seriously, but survived. And I loved the BAR. It's a beautiful automatic weapon.
You know, the 3rd Division saw some of the heaviest action in the whole war. They were in 10 campaigns. Where did you join them?
I joined them in Sicily, late 43, before we invaded Italy. We invaded Italy, and by the way, Italy was still our enemy at the time. That continued when we landed in Italy then, and fought our way up almost into Naples. On October 3rd of 1943, Italy surrendered. And I was very fortunate to be there at that time, because going through Naples, the Germans had to set bombs to detonate anytime and anywhere. In fact, I remember very well going by the post office in Naples, and we were running on a trot, and all of a sudden the post office blew up. The Germans had set bombs on it. But anyway, that's how it all started, by Italy surrendering. And the Italian people, there were a lot of them, many of them, were grateful for us. And there were others who did not want to be with us because we killed their husband or boyfriend or relative, whatever, during the North African campaign and Sicilian campaign. So we took Sicily in like 30, over a month while I was there. It was quite an experience for me to be in combat. I was scared. Too many guys I went over with, never saw the next day. I didn't know their names. We were just a bunch of people. But there was some I did know. And scared, yes, but we had a duty to do. And we were trained, kill or be killed. And I didn't want to be killed. So I did what I had to do. I tried to do my best. There's one incident which I would be very helpful to people to understand combat, infantry combat. We have to take the high ground. In the high ground, you can control the whole area. This one hill the German had, they looked down at us in the valley, and they were dropping everything at us, so we were ordered to move. So Lieutenant Shields, commanding of the platoon leader. All right, get men. We're getting ready now. We're going to move out. We're going to move across this open field. And we started to move out. All of a sudden, hell broke loose. Mortar shells come in, artillery coming in, machine gun fire coming at us. And we're running through this all the while. And finally, the lieutenant yelled, drop, 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 drop. So we all dropped down. When it was time to move on again, I couldn't move. My legs were frozen. And the sergeant said, come on, Castelli, we got to move. You're the best PA guy, man, we have in our company. With that, there's mortar shells dropping, artillery shot, machine gun bullets bouncing all over the place. Give me a hand. He pulled me up, I fell down. He pulled me up, I fell down. Come on, you remember basic training, the zigzag, that's what you had to do? Get up there, come on, get on one leg. So I get up on one leg and got onto the other leg. And then I started to move. And then the motions started. I kept running and running. And with that, I dropped my rifle down to automatic. And I just kept spraying the hill in front of me. Spraying it. That pocket one, I put another one in, and spraying the whole hill. Meantime, we were pushing the Germans back because the artillery was lessening, the mortar shells coming at us. The machine gun fire was starting to lessen a little bit. And finally, we got to our objective, we got to our hill. And the first thing we did was take out a cigarette and thank the God that we made it. That's infantry. That's how you live. You have no house to go back to, no bed. You're cold, you're wet. The wet clothes you have on, that's what you sleep in, walk in, dry on you. I was in my uniform for about 62 days. It almost stood up by itself. It was an amazing, amazing thing. The fear that you have, which I will explain that later on from the hospital.
Thank you for sharing that incident. Could you fill us in a little bit more about the Germans? When you were charging up the hill, what could you actually see of the enemy as you were firing?
I was watching my buddies drop, and I thought maybe I might be dropped by the German. He's taking aim at me right now, so I kept moving. And that's what they taught you, never be a target. And I knew that guy up on the hill was aiming right at me, because he's looking at me. That's how I felt, because I'm looking up at him. I'm spraying the whole area with my BAR. And I had a fear. A lot of us all have fears. If you didn't have fear, you were an atheist. You didn't belong. Everybody had a fear. But what seemed to calm us was the cigarette. And the guys who never smoked started to smoke. Because at that moment, the cigarette seemed to put a calmness into your whole body. And your mind started to think a little bit. Oh, and the lieutenant said, okay, guys, we're here for a while. We captured. This is it. Now we got to put out our protection in case of counterattack, because the Germans are going to try to counterattack because they want the hill back. We got to be there for it. And we were. We stopped them. Because I've often said to people, how did you know where you were at? Well, we knew that we were a little black line on the map. We were out front at all times, the infantry, followed by our tanks. Yes, they were the Air Corps, the Navy with their ships bombing the areas as well. But you felt like you were by yourself until you sat down and sometimes cried that you made it. My fear was what would happen to my mother and dad if I was killed. I constantly thought about that. It goes right through your veins the whole times.
Yeah, so before we get into more of your combat situations, if we could just backtrack a little bit. You mentioned you were born in the Bronx. Did you grow up in the Bronx?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Talk to us about growing up in the Bronx during the Great Depression, please.
Say again?
Could you please talk to us about what it was like growing up in the Bronx during the Great Depression?
My dad had his own business in textiles, his own embroidery business. And as my uncles and aunts tell me, before my dad and mom got married, every Sunday he used to go up to the house with his chauffeur. And all my uncles and aunts and cousins, they always wanted to ride, so my father used to tell them, Charles, take them all where they want to go. And that was right up, I was born in 1924. 1929, we had the crash. My dad lost everything. He could never make a comeback. But they started a WPA, a Workmen's Progress Association group, and that's when my dad took a job with that. And then he got sick because all the naphtha they used in textiles, with all the pins, and it went through his whole body, and the white corpuscles were taken over by the red, or vice versa. It was called Addison disease. And he had that for 14 years. And he had a great, wonderful woman doctor in the Presbyterian Hospital in New York City. And she kept him alive. And she said they're going to send him back to work in a small little way. My dad, our son Michael was born. And my dad took him for a walk in the carriage, a little stroll. That was on a Monday. He came down with a cold. Thursday, he was dead. Pneumonia set in immediately. He died at the age of 58, a young man.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I'll tell you a little funny story. I have a picture of myself when I was 18 years of age when I first went into the Army. I was 18. When I had my accident in 2017, where I was hit head on, a month or two later, they took a picture of me with my Army hat on. And I was taken in 1993, yes. 1992, 2000, yes, because it was, my dad was born in 1893. I was 18, 19, 18, and the picture taken of me was 93. 8, me 18, 93. 1893, my dad's year he was born.
Got it.
The two pictures of me, which is an oddity at that time.
Could you tell us, before the war, what were you planning on doing with your life?
I wanted to be an aviator. I always would take books and read about aviators, and think about aviation. But I reached the age of 15, and way back then they had a program called CMTC, which stood for Citizens Military Training Camp. If you went away four summers in a row, you became a second lieutenant in the reserves. My good friends I grew up with were all 2 years older than me. They were 17, and they came in the age group that you could sign up for them. They were all getting ready to go away, and I begged my mom and dad to sign papers that I was 17 rather than just 15. I talked them into it. My mom and dad said, but what about the war? I said, the war is in Europe. We have nothing to worry about. It's over there. So anyway, they signed papers, and I was with the 26th Infantry up in Plattsburgh, New York. It was most enjoyable. Right then and there, I knew I liked the Army. So now I come back after being away that summer, and all my friends went into the Guard, National Guard. Again, I asked Mom and Dad to lie a little bit about my age. and went into the Guards. Now, they had the first fishbowl draft in the United States. That was in October. By December, they found out my true age, just before December 7th, they found out my true age and kicked me out. They said, come back when you're old enough. I said, well, thank you. So I got a job with this one company in textiles. I knew a little bit about textiles because of my dad. And this is nice. I worked for this company, and I just started with them. And then I went away into service. Well, I'm going to backtrack a second. I took my wife-to-be to our prom. February of 1943. March 15th of 1943, I was in South Carolina, Camp Croft, infantry training.
From a boy into a man, just like that.
Just like that. Give me 12 weeks of training. Give me a 10-day leave. I come home, I feel a big shot now, uniform and all. Reported back, and he assigned me to the Cartwheel Division, the 35th Division in Dothan, Alabama. Another infantry outfit. And then, I was only there 2 weeks. Following men fall out. Castelli, Calderon, Capobianco, Carmine Beatrice. I said, oh my Lord, I know where we're heading for. Picked out all Italian Americans. We're just finishing up the campaign in North Africa. We're heading. The next thing I know, I was on a ship. 23 days in this big convoy. And we pulled into Oran, North Africa. And here's the most surprised 18-year-old guy in the world. I always saw camels in a zoo. And here the camels are walking out in the street by themselves or with their leaders. That was the funniest thing to me. Am I dreaming this? I'm not in the zoo. I'm not in the Bronx Zoo anymore. This is North Africa. And now the rest becomes history. That's when I got assigned to then the 3rd Division, 15th Regiment E Company.
And when you were assigned to them, you mentioned you guys were in Sicily. Was the fighting in Sicily over?
No, just about. Almost, just about the end of it. The Sicilian campaign was just about over. 2 days later, we were on our way to Salerno, into Italy, and working our way up Italy along the coast, going on up.
So when you joined the 15th Regiment, did you come under fire at all in Sicily?
No.
So your first experience under fire was mainland Italy.
Italy, right. Real fire, real combat.
And if you could take us through, what was your first experience in combat?
Scared. Again. I saw all these veterans, and they were serving a hot meal to an E Company. I couldn't eat. I was scared. What am I doing there? Because all the cannons going on in the background, all the artillery going on, the firing still going on. And some of these new veterans, the veterans that are there, they saw my tin plate mess kit I couldn't eat it. This one guy said, "Hey, can I have your food?" And I said, "Sure." So I gave him my food. I wasn't hungry. This is me who wanted combat, and now you're scared. And that's the way it stayed. But yet, we were still able to perform and do what we were trained to do. Obey, follow orders, go out and patrol. My first night, I guess it was, the Sergeant Crouch said, Castelli and another guy, we're going to go out on a little combat, a little information patrol, 3 guys, not for combat, just to try to probe, see where the German lines are at. And they get back. That was my first experience. My next experience was actually being fired upon. Machine gun bullets flying all around you. And then the artillery coming at you. And then the mortars. The Germans had a screaming Mimi mortar, which was like 6 barrels. When they dropped the mortars in. So when you first landed, you took aim where. The second one gave you what was going to how the pattern was going to be, so you made sure you were someplace else. But in the meantime, they're firing machine guns completely at you. My next experience was we were moving up the line, and all of a sudden, Italy had surrendered now. 2 Italians came running down from the mountainside. And the Captain Werschel said, Castelli, find out what they're talking about. So my best Italian, I didn't know that much of Italian. My best Italian, I said, Dos da Dudesh. Where are the Germans? Ah, Paisan, they grabbed me, Brooklyn. No, Brooklyn. So on the ground, the Dutch, the Germans. So where we were going up this ravine, on this side of the ravine and on this side of the ravine, the Germans had machine guns pointed right down at us, where we were going. So Captain Werschel says, okay, thank you. Thank them, give this up. So I gave him a couple of chocolate bars. And we outskirted the Germans. We come around this way, and then we dropped our grenades right down on them. Otherwise, we could have been wiped out. That was the experience. And the sergeant, our first sergeant said, do you understand now why we follow orders? We have to do what we have to do, but we have to first check to make sure the orders we're following are the correct orders. Yes. And then it became, I don't say routine, you're fighting all the time, you don't sleep, you're in the infantry, the rain's coming down, you're soaking wet, the clothes are going to dry on you, and you're still fighting. You're still charging. You're going forward. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. That's how you live in the infantry. New replacements come in, your buddies go down. Now, making sense right now?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Am I answering what you wanted to know? I hope.
Yeah, you're doing great.
We had, at this one point, I don't know if a tracer got me or part of an artillery shrapnel, but it just broke the skin of my thumb. Just broke the skin of my thumb. And they put me back into an aid station close by for the front lines. Those nurses and doctors are something else, constantly under fire themselves. And next thing I know, from there, they put me in an ambulance and sent me back to the 36th General, which is in Caserta, Italy, over the King's Palace. And after treatment, hot showers, whatever, I was in there a few weeks. And this one time we're getting ready to be discharged, and this lieutenant, medical doctor, young fella, stop. I don't know the number.
You should answer just to hang up.
Pardon?
You should just hang up. You open it so it hangs up.
I should have brought the number. I don't know the number. That's it. Okay.
I'll just have you repeat that last part. Just take it from the point where you went to the 36th General. Just repeat the story after you said that, please.
Okay. When I arrived at the 36th General Hospital in Caserta, Italy, after finally getting out of my uniform for 60 some odd days, the showers were nice. The shower was great. The bed was comfortable. And then after being there a couple of weeks, whatever, I had to be interviewed by the medical doctors. And everything seemed to go along fine until this one young doctor. How did you like combat? I said, excuse me, sir, what'd you say? I said, how did you like combat? I said, I didn't like combat, but it's something we were trained to do. That's why we're moving forward. That's why we left North Africa into Sicily. We're in Italy now. Were you scared? I said, damn right I was scared. Why were you scared? You were trained not to be scared. No, I was not trained to be scared. I was trained to kill or be killed. I was trained how to use weapons. And I know how a machine gun and the VAR and the rifle and the pistol and the mortars, the 40mm mortars, the 80mm. I was trained to do all that. You shouldn't be scared. Sir, with all due respect, were you ever in combat? No. Well, don't you talk combat to me or any other infantry guy until you wear our shoes. You have no right to talk to me that way. I do so. They should knock you out of your chair. You don't even belong here as a doctor. They gave me my discharge paper from the hospital. Psychoneurosis, neurasthenia, anxiety state. Unfit for further combat duty. Do not put another weapon in his hands. That saved me. It saved me from further combat. Now, I'm at the Repo Depot in Bagnoli, right outside of Naples, waiting to be reassigned. So I asked them to put me in the 3rd Division Band, because I did play the drums. And we can't do that. I said, why? We already have drummers. Well, can't you find room for one more? No. So while I'm waiting to be reassigned, I knew typing very well. I also knew stenotype, with the perforation tape they use. I could read that and do that. So I used to help out at the replacement depot. And until one day, late May of '44, they said, pack your bags, Castelli, pack your bags. Where you going? I'm going to take the truck down to the pier. Okay. Still didn't know where I was going. Other guy did the same thing. Now we boarded this ship in Naples Harbor called it was the ship was the SS Cristobal. It was a banana run ship. They used to run between for the use of a transport across the ocean. So I'm on the top deck now. I never would go below. I always had my vest with me, my helmet. I'm on the top deck. And this is the captain speaking. It's the captain speaking. The invasion is on. June 6th, 1944. I said, my God, they're going to turn the ship around. We're going back to port, wherever. With that, I hear, hey, Huey, Hughie is my nickname, Hughie. Who the hell would hear Hughie in the Atlantic Ocean? I look up, one of the guys I played ball with. He joined the Merchant Marine. And we hugged one another, tears. My God, it's good to see somebody from home. And he said, you remember Chick Norton? Yeah, Chick working at Daniel Reeves Market, the grocery store. He's the chief steward on board. I'll go get him. Then he goes to Chick, and Chick comes up. They all knew one another. The family just knew one another. And Chick says, you got any friends on board? I said, no. Anybody, buddy? No, nobody. Got me. He said, my statement is yours. My stateroom is yours. All the food you want, pick-ons, any sandwiches, midnight, whatever. It's all there. Hey, Chick, this is great. And he said, by the way, when we hit Norfolk, what's your phone number? I want to call your parents. Well, 2 weeks later, we landed in Norfolk. He gets off the ship, comes back a few hours later, and he said, everything went fine. I said, yeah, what? He said, I called you home, and all I said was, Gene is home. There was an eruption of laughter, crying, and yelling, and screaming. He said, I couldn't tell you who said what. And they just want to know, when will he be here? He said, well, by the time the paperwork gets through, we will, he'll be boarding the train and headed to New York. And that was my experience of combat. I was fortunate to be home. I was awarded some medals, Bronze Star Medal, Purple Heart, Conspicuous Service Cross, a few others. And they reassigned me to an outfit in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, called Carlisle Barracks, Pennsylvania. It was a medical field service school where all doctors got into, and they went through their training there. And that's what I did. I took them through their training. And one day I saw a medical doctor with a 3rd Division patch on him. I said, Captain Day. And he said, yes. And I said, here's my 3rd Division too. Oh, he said, you were in the 36th General Hospital, weren't you? Yes, Captain. He said, I do remember you. You had a little to go with this, some second lieutenant, young medical officer. Oh my God. He said, that's going to be held against you. You got your papers, you're okay, you're safe, whatever. But that was funny then, seeing that. And then I did all that work at Carlisle Barracks, and they had a baseball team. And they asked me to join the baseball team, which I did. And I saved my uniform. They all wore flannels way back then. Not the uniform they wear today or the past few years. Flannels, heavy flannels. I saved my uniform. I have it in the zipper bag with moth-proof where I kept my shirt. Not a moth hole, not a moth in that shirt. See, that's, I got discharged. I hope that the young people today can understand what infantry means. What you have on your back, in your backpack, that's your living quarters. You have everything there, your food, your blanket, your raincoat. That's what you live on. You don't have a change of clothes with you. Socks, yeah, always socks. The good infantry man always had extra socks. And, but when you live and you see war movies, you see people, guys running, and the explosions, well, that's the movies. I'm telling you like it is. This is a true story of how a combat soldier lives. And I hope you're all listening and learned from it. I could say this. I was proud of what I did. I would never want to do it again. Unless I knew the outcome, like now, because I know I lived through it.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your experiences. I want to go over in more detail some of them, if that's okay.
Sure.
You know, you were in the 3rd Division. The 3rd Division, after fighting up in southern Italy, they made the invasion of Anzio.
Yes.
Tell us about your experiences at Anzio, please.
At Anzio, that was January 1944. It was like the war was over. I was not supposed to be there. Captain Werschel said, Castelli, what are you doing here? You don't belong here. Sergeant, come over here. Get Castelli on the first LCI back to Naples. He doesn't belong here. I wish they got rid of me real fast. Because I had that paper, psychoneurosis, anxiety state. They made a mistake in the paper to shipping me out. So I couldn't tell you exactly, other than what I heard from later on. When the guys landed, they were not fired upon immediately until they got inland. And then the Germans took their big 88 gun, which was used for aircraft. They lowered it and was firing it right down onto the troops. They almost pushed the 3rd back into the Mediterranean. But because of strength, recruits, they took the cooks. They took anybody they could. All had basic training, knew how to fire a rifle. Come on, we plug the line. And that's how they got through Anzio. They said, the initial landing, they said, wow, this is a snap. The Germans are really pulling out. No, they just played dopey, let them come on in. Here come the Americans. Let them land, let their LCIs hit. Then we get them. But it was a stepping stone, because the next stop was Rome. And it pulled divisions away from the Normandy area where the invasion was supposed to take place, and put them on down into Italy itself. The 3rd Division was the most decorated division in the European theater of operation. If memory serves me correct, they had something like 31 Congressional Medal of Honors, including Audie Murphy and Gene Appenberger and a few others. Now, one of these fellas, when I was in the hospital, Carmine Beatrice, they told me he was killed. Now, Carmine was a group of guys with Capobianco, Corleone and all of them. He had jet black hair. I mean, it was black. I said, what a young guy killed. I'm out of service. I'm at this company I work with. I'm on a bowling team. We're walking in the subway, going to the Nevins bowling alleys in Brooklyn. I'm up with my 4 other buddies, and a couple of guys coming this way at us. And 2 of the guys grabbed my arms and held me. My colleague workers, they thought the guy was going to attack me. There were 2 of my buddies from the 3rd Division. One was Carmine Beatrice, who I thought was killed. He was captured. He was a prisoner of war. And his hair from black was all white. But he survived being a prisoner of war. And the other one was Mike Capobianco. And what a feeling that was. I couldn't bowl that night then. But that was some feeling to know that.
How many years after the war was that?
This was, let's see, discharged in 46. We were married in 48. This had to be like 1950.
Wow.
Because I couldn't wait to get home to tell Ida about it. What a feeling that was.
You know, on that note, do you remember the names of anyone from your outfit that was killed?
Names in my outfit? No. I can say faces. We were all like recruits. Replacements.
I know you mentioned earlier that there were times you actually saw Americans getting hit and going down.
Oh, yes.
You know.
Oh, yes.
For those who have not experienced that, could you describe what did you see?
Well, there was one young blonde guy. We were on a boat together. I don't know his name. You got a bullet right here. First day in combat. Not even 5 minutes. He's gone. I was shook. I was shook up. And I saw other buddies going down when the shells started to hit. Being hit in the arms, being hit in the stomach, being hit in the legs. The medics running after them, trying to give them morphine and on the wound itself, putting self-diazine on it and trying to wrap them up. No, but I can tell you my buddies who I grew up with who were killed. I know their names. Buddy Harnett lived right across the street from me. And Buddy had a big, beautiful dog, a chow, with a big purple tongue and all. And I used to be with Buddy. We'd walk the dog back and forth. And he was one of the fellas I went away with CMTC. And Buddy was killed in Okinawa. His lieutenant was hit. And Buddy ran from his position to get to the lieutenant. He had the lieutenant, he picked him up, he had him over his shoulders, bringing him back. And a Japanese sniper got him right across here. And Tommy Plunkett, who went away with Buddy. Most of my friends all went away in pairs. I went by myself. I was really mad. Why could I have let somebody be from Woodlawn go be with me? But once I got into combat, I was happy. I was glad. I was glad I didn't have anybody from Woodlawn, my buddies that I grew up with. Could I worry about me now? Like Tommy Plunkett, he was shot after only seeing Buddy get killed. Jackie Renz, they say that his sister said, Jackie Renz was a gunner on a B-17. And they saw him jump out, and they saw Jackie jump out, parachute open. Never saw his body, though. Lou Cooper Carroll, he was a tank corps. His tank was destroyed. He was killed. All my friends, 18, 19 years of age. Today I wonder what they would look like. Bobby Hunt. Bobby Hunt wanted to be a naval aviator. He was killed in Pensacola, Florida, in a plane crash during training. I'll tell you a funny story. My Uncle Tony, he wanted to fly. He missed out in flying. He washed out because he couldn't hedge hop. But he wanted to fly, so he became an aerial gunner. And I just got out of the hospital in Italy. I got a piece of mail from my uncle. And I opened it up and he said, I hope you're okay, Gene. I'm doing fine. I'm out here in California, and look at me now. He said, and he's on the beach with shorts on, and here I'm getting my ass kicked. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
I'm getting shut out. He's telling me where he's on the beach enjoying himself. Anyway, we joked about that after the war. But I did have some good experiences. I met some nice guys. guys I promoted along the way. When they were moving our outfit out of Carlisle Barracks, the Major Castelli, pick out 6 men. You're going to be the cleanup detail. Not that we had to clean up, but make sure everything's gone, because the whole everybody else left by troop train. And we had I had the orders for myself and the other 5 men, the 6 men. And after I picked out who was in charge of the officers' club, who was in charge of the sergeants' club. Everybody had the liquor. And my orders were read, get to San Antonio as soon as possible. Brooks General Hospital. So I saw a train, New Orleans. Well, New Orleans is not far from Texas. We get on there, it was almost Mardi Gras time. And I wired our commanding officer, made a mistake, we're in New Orleans. He wired back, correct your mistake and get to San Antonio immediately. End of story. But in between, when I was playing ball for Carlisle Barracks, we won the 3rd Service Command Championship. Now we went down to Fort Lee, Virginia, and we played against all of the major league ball players who were in service, including Johnny Lindell, who was a great pitcher with the New York Yankees. And Johnny Lindell, well, we played 7 games. On the 7th game, he hit a ground ball. I was playing second base. And I went to make the scoop, and I took a bad hop, caught me in the lip and split my lip open. They had to bring me to the infirmary to stitch me up. But I was a good glove man, but a lousy hitter. I was a .250 hitter. He gave me an opportunity to go to Yankee training camp. I didn't take it. Because I knew I was a .250 hitter. I'd be a Class D ball up down mountains, down the mountain, on a bus, on this, whatever. And I wanted to go back and finish my education, which I did. I wound up becoming a regional sales manager for a major trucking company. I was admitted to practice commerce law before the Interstate Commerce Commission in 1955. And I was able to raise 3 children. And they got married and had children. I've had a great journey, a good journey. I just hope it never ends. But I know one day it will.
Well, you never know. With the way science and technology is going, someone's going to live forever.
Right.
I just want to go over some of the stories. I mean, you have a very interesting way of sharing your experiences. It's almost like someone's there alongside you. So the 3rd Division, you joined them in Sicily. You didn't see action in Sicily. The invasion of Italy takes place September of '43. And you were fighting up until when did you actually get hit? Do you remember the month?
Yes. It was in. I spent Thanksgiving in the hospital. So it was then, just before Thanksgiving.
And if you don't mind, could you take us through the circumstances of how you were actually wounded, the full story? What were you doing?
We were charging. We were running through open field, making an advance. Well, it was always E Company. Everybody always felt E Company. Again, E Company. We on it goes. Don't give up. There's other companies in the outfit, in the regiment. E Company. And we had to move. We had to move out and charge. The Captain Worship's orders were for this one sector we had to get to. And we were actually running in a little bit of a forest. And then we broke through to an open area. and machine gun fire was coming at us. And I felt the loose up in here, and we got to where we were at. And they saw the hand that was going, and he just wrapped it up. He said, "Okay, you'll be all right." And from there, the next thing I know is had me at a field station.
So what do you believe hit your hand?
I don't know if it was a shrapnel or a tracer bullet, because it stung. When it didn't break anything, or it broke the skin. I mean, it didn't break any bones. And that was it. They put me in an aid station.
Why do you think they put you in an aid station for a non-severe injury?
I had not a clue. But that's what they led me to. This corporal with his Red Cross. There's an aid station not too far in the rear from here. And I walked it. I had my BAR slung over my shoulder. That's where he walked me into it. And they let the sort of glaze in my eyes, fear, I don't know. I have not a clue. But all I know is then they had me on an ambulance into the 36th General Hospital in Caserta. And that was it. I don't know of any other part of combat I can tell you about other than living through machine gun fire, rifle fire, mortars, artillery. That was about the best I can tell you.
Sure. So just so we're on the same page, you were running towards some woods, and then there was a clearing, and in that clearing, you guys were taking on machine gun and mortar fire, and you feel your thumb.
Yes.
It's been hit.
Yes.
You don't know what, and then the medic comes. And what does the medic do?
We'll go itself for the iodine. We had our own package of it. Put it right over the wound.
And
that was it.
And then he took you to the first aid.
And then some corporal with his band, his Red Cross insignia, the medical insignia. We were walking. The Alpha kept on going, and I went this way. And I said, "Well, okay." Slogging along, carrying my BAR. Then they took my BAR when I got to the aid station, and I never saw it again. Because then, as I said, they put me on an ambulance then, back to Caserta, and in there for, I guess, almost 3 weeks, I guess.
What did you do in those 3 weeks for your finger?
3 weeks in the hospital? Exercise? Nothing. Interview, sit with the doctors, being interviewed how long you've been in combat. I guess all told, I probably had maybe 5 months of combat, actual combat.
And because of that outburst, when that junior doctor was talking with you, they classified you not fit for combat. So you went to the hospital originally for the finger, or the hand, but during your time there, you became unfit for combat according to the doctors.
Right.
Okay. Oh, I appreciate you explaining that. So let's just focus on the time that you were in combat. I just have some general questions for you, okay?
Good.
When you were in combat, did you have any experiences against the German Luftwaffe? Did you ever see the German planes, or did they strafe you?
The Germans, they never strafed us, but I'll tell you a little story. We were on a mountainside in Italy. And with that, 4 German planes were coming. Lieutenant Shields said, "Don't fire on the planes, don't fire on those planes, don't fire on those planes. They don't want us. They want the tanks and the artillery down in the valley." And the 4 planes following them right on down. All of a sudden we hear, zoom, 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 like 4 bombs dropped on it. Now they're coming back up. The lead German pilot, I could see him with his little leather helmet. They dipped their wings. And we waved back at them. Because if we fired upon them, they would have strafed that hill. Not one Churchill would be left alive. And then we had the big 50 caliber machine guns. And that was it. They respected, the German pilots respected we in the infantry. And that's why they gave us that little wave of their wings, followed by the second, third, and fourth plane.
Were they able to damage the tanks?
Bobby?
Were they able to damage the tanks?
I guess they did. I mean, we didn't go back for that. But they were, oh. Now, let's see, I'm trying to place, oh, I know what I left out. The German prisoner. I captured a German prisoner. I have his picture. I'll show it to you later. True story. He's an American citizen. His parents went back to Germany in 1936 for a visit. German people. They wouldn't let them out. Hitler kept them there. And the kid, who was just turned 15 or 16, something like that, they conscripted him into the German army. So when we were on patrol, and all of a sudden, he popped up. He said, I surrender, I surrender. Perfect English. Now, we knew a lot of Germans knew English. But he had, I'm an American, really, I'm an American. And he told us the whole story. We brought him back, got him up to the CP. And the CP, then the command post, the captain, had to call the MPs and take him away. In the meantime, he gave me his Purple Heart medal. I have it in the envelope, show it to you later. And 2 pictures of himself. And I never knew what happened thereafter to him. That was the story of my capture.
Can you tell us actually how you captured him, though?
Yes, we were on combat patrol. We were like 7 men on a combat patrol. We were looking to fight wherever we could. And he just popped up. I surrender, just like that. You know, we were all shook up. Sergeant Crouch couldn't believe it. And he told us a story. Right then and there, he told us a story about himself, his parents. And
he gave you a picture.
He was happy to be caught. He wanted to be caught. Now, who the hell knows what happened? Because at that time, anytime we took prisoners, including the Italians themselves, before they surrendered, they had to ship them back to the States, send them to farmlands throughout the United States. It's all in the papers. They worked in mills, they worked in the farms. Maybe they did that to him, I don't know.
And before he parted, he gave you his picture?
Yes. I had to have him with his name on the back and everything else.
What could you tell us about the destruction to Naples?
Pardon me?
What do you remember about the destruction to Naples?
No windows in the house. No windows. Just a hole. Bombs. I got along pretty well when I got out of the hospital. We had some of the people, as I said, did not take too well to the Americans, and those we tried to cultivate. What got to me at times, when we emptied our mess kits into the big barrels, how these young children were looking for food. And whatever was in there could have been part of a leg of a chicken, they would take that and you'd see them eating it. Or whatever it might be, whatever food could be eaten, they would take it. To see children suffer, that's what really grabbed me. I knew the adults could survive, but the children, that was the sad part.
Absolutely.
Me, I had 2 canteens. One was water, one was wine. That's how I traveled. I saw Mount Vesuvius blow, the lava. Saw that happen, Mount Vesuvius.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was in the evening, and I was sitting on a little mountaintop, and all of a sudden, boom, boom, all these loud noises, and then ash. The sky was full of, lights and little flashes. And then you actually could see this molten lava falling down the side of Mount Vesuvius. That was something else. You see that. You really just see it. In fact, I brought some limestone from Mount Vesuvius home too. I was one of the very fortunate guys in the infantry who lived and made it through. A lot of guys come home, yes, without a doubt. But a division, you never know the division from the outset of the war to the end of the war. Totally all replacements.
Going back to the general questions, when you were in combat, did you have any experiences against German tanks?
Again, no.
Do you remember seeing them?
I did see them. Oh yes. Oh yeah. We had to pull back.
Tell us about
We had to. The tanks are coming down a roadway, and we got the orders: pull back, pull back, pull back. Set up new positions. I didn't have any, but we had guys with bazookas that could fire right at the bogey wheels and go for the tanks. I didn't experience any of that. We had guys that had armor piercing. They used Springfield rifle, 1903 rifles, that had a special thing on the muzzle part with penetrating armor. You could penetrate at least 4 inches of armor. There were guys that had that. I never had experience fighting a tank. I fought human beings. Yeah. Fought their artillery. Fought against their machine guns. They had some machine guns, I'll tell you that.
Tell us about the German machine guns, please.
They were so perfect. Right down to their pistol, the Luger. It was such a perfect pistol. And their machine guns, they were so powerful. We had 30 caliber machine guns. We also had 50 caliber. But mostly in combat, the infantry outfit always had 30 caliber machine guns. And again, you had special people for those who were trained in them. I had my experiences. I don't. Some of the movies that they portray, like To Hell and Back, I didn't experience any of those cafes because they were always behind us. We were up front. But I didn't even experience it when I get out of hospital.
What do you mean, cafes?
Cafes, you know. Did you ever see? You saw it to Hell and Back, the movie? Oh, well, they show you cafes, cabarets, nightclubs.
I see.
I didn't experience any of that. I did have an experience of an Italian family. The brother and sister. They wanted to sing, hey Joe, sing it for Papa. No. I give him a chocolate bar. And they said, we will take the chocolate bar, we will take it if you come home with us to see our parents. I went home, met their parents. I gave them chocolate bars too. They made me a spaghetti dinner. What little food they had, they made me a spaghetti dinner. I never forgot this family. If I went back, well, it would be totally different today, because the home was right by the railroad station in Naples. But at the time that I wanted to go back, I could almost go to that house, but never went back. Get married, schooling, kids come along, but I never forgot them though.
Of course. Could you tell us about your experiences using grenades? Did you personally throw any grenades when you were in combat?
Say again to me, please.
Can you tell us about your experiences using grenades? Did you remember throwing any grenades in combat?
Oh yes, grenade. What a beautiful little piece of weapon that is. The grenade is made up of 40 pieces. 40 little pieces of shrapnel. And they taught you basic training, grenade! That never happened that way. We threw it like a baseball, underhanded, lobbed it, whatever way we could. Because if you stood up the way you did, you'd be riddled with bullets. Yeah, the grenade had helped us many times, particularly little caves in the mountainsides over in Italy. We dropped them in there. Or if we were taking over a farmhouse, we'd try to use the grenade first, if we got close enough. If not, then we use our rifles, machine gun, BAR, whatever. Always take the high hill, always take the high ground. And that's what we did. The 3rd Division started in Fort Lewis, Washington. And in the movie To Hell and Back, the movie, combat, all the combat scenes, the whole movie was shot right there in Fort Lewis, Washington. And now the 3rd Division is stationed down in Georgia, Camp Stewart, Georgia. And part of the song is, just keep me in the 3rd Division. Feed me ammunition. Your dog-faced soldier boy's okay. That's the end of our song. And I don't know what else I can add.
Don't worry, don't worry. I have questions, believe me. Sir, you're doing great. I appreciate your patience. Could you tell us, you mentioned grenades. Could you tell us about any specific incidents you remember throwing them? I remember earlier in your story you talked about that time when you guys, you got the 2 Italians to interpret,
right,
and you went around. You mentioned you said you all threw grenades. Is that including you?
Right. Yes.
From your position, could you see any damage done?
Yes. Human bodies torn apart. Really. I mean, they were blood all over the place. They could have done more damage than if a bomb hit them. Because that, again, if we didn't wipe them out and we bypassed them, they would have killed some of our troops. We had to take the initiative at that moment. This is our time. We can't bypass them.
Absolutely.
So it's very easy to crawl up and creep up and sneak up and little by little, because first of all we wiped out their machine guns that protected them, their own machine guns. They had the two nests on either side as well, beside the gunners themselves. So it was very easy to creep up right here and get to a little ridge and just drop them and get back. Because that grenade, when it explodes, there are 40 pieces of a grenade goes all over the place. Yes, I had experience with that. I know how to cradle. I know how long you can hold it when you pull the pin. I know how long you can hold it when you let the handle go. Yep. It was.
You mentioned earlier that, you know, it's kill or be killed. A lot of the veterans who I have interviewed, they say that when you're in a firefight, oftentimes you're firing in a general area and other Americans are firing at the same time, so you don't really know who hit who because you're all firing. But other veterans have told me that there are times when you can actually get a bead on the enemy, you know, and then you fire, you see them drop, you don't know if they're wounded or killed, but they're hit. In your personal experiences, you know, you as a BAR man, what do you remember about firing at the enemy, sir?
Well, what I can tell you is we always had a clear field of fire. We always knew who was on our left, what company was on our left, what company was on our right. So when we were firing, we were not firing on Americans, other Americans. We had a clear view of our enemy. We knew what zone we're in. D company's over here, B company's over here, E company's right here in the middle. Whatever it might be. We always knew where we were at. And for me to open fire with my BAR, it was not just firing for the hell of it. You were firing at an objective. You knew that hill was being, the hill was being used by the Germans to look at us, because they're up here, they're looking down. We have to get up there to take them out. We had a perfect field of fire. And when we did, we tried to have our machine gun and our BAR men and the riflemen work together in a team. Because the BAR is almost like a machine gun. When you put that in automatic, and you just put that trigger, 16 bullets immediately are gone. And your cartridge, you pick another cartridge belt and drop it in there. But the nicest part about it, when you put it down on a single shot, you knew where you were firing, you knew what tree. Somebody already gave you a signal. He's in that tree, he's up above up there. Take the BAR and spray the tree. You use whatever knowledge you gained and whatever veterans gained before you that was passed on down into your basic training then. What to look for, how to look for it. How sound travels at nighttime more so than during the day. You're listening, and sometimes you can pick up a German trying to talk they're talking to one another. You can pick it up. Or by accident, they're trying to smoke a cigarette. You just catch that little flash immediately. You open fire. You don't wait. You zero it in that area. You call it in. Let the captain know what's what. He in turn can call artillery. We'll send them out. You'll use the mortars. It wasn't just anything haphazard. Things were pretty well planned on how you're supposed to do it. When we saw the body, I saw people, I fired, and I don't know if it was me hitting them or my buddies firing at the same time, but we saw them fall. They went down. Some stayed down, others got up and were limping away, and we fired at them again. So this time when they went down, they stayed down. Because I don't want to be that one. I want to be alive. What the old saying, last man standing? At least I want to be one of them.
What was that like for you, to be a young man put in the position where, you have to kill people? I mean, I understand they're the enemy, but how did you cope with it at the time?
As I said, it was either kill or be killed, like they taught us in basic training. They gave us all the means to stay alive and how to be aware of booby traps. Just don't go looking at a dead German and try to take whatever he might have, because they might have set traps where his body would blow up and take you with it. So you learned, you left things alone. And they show some of the war movies you see. Oh, the guy comes away with a dagger, the guy comes with this, a gun, or whatever. No, you got to watch yourself what you take, what you had to do. Combat, you're always on edge. You never really are relaxed, because you never know what the lieutenant's going to say. Come on, we're ready to move out. So we just did so. Look what we did. We covered 5 miles already. Look how far we penetrated. We got more to do. We got more to do. And I got to tell you, Ernie Pyle, a great World War correspondent. Ernie Pyle stayed with us at 15th Regiment for quite a while. He wrote a nice little story. And in his report, he asked Congress to do something for the infantry. He said, the guys flying, they have their wings, they get extra pay. The guys in the Navy and the submarines, they get extra pay. These guys in the infantry, they're the original 24/7. They never stop, keep on going. So something should happen. They deserve more. So the architects down in Washington got their heads together and they drew a rifle. Now that will indicate infantry, but it doesn't indicate they were in combat. But somebody said, well, we'll put a wreath around the rifle. That's why it became the Combat Infantryman's Badge. Ernie Pyle got us that, plus $10 a month extra.
That's right.
And now he went to the Pacific Theater, and the Japanese killed him. He was killed by a sniper. I saw his grave. My wife and I visited Hawaii back in 1980. We went to his grave at the Punch Bowl. What he did for us, he put the infantry guy right there. Because everybody, when they see that Combat Infantryman's Badge, they marvel at it. Some people say, you're a general. No. First of all, let me tell you this. The Infantryman's Badge, Combat Infantryman's Badge, was created for full colonels on down, or from a private all the way up to full colonel. Generals who command a division go into combat cannot be awarded the Combat Infantryman's Badge. When you see a general wearing a Combat Infantryman's Badge, he earned that on the way up. People didn't understand it, didn't know it. I said, yep, that's how it works.
Absolutely. You mentioned Pyle getting killed by a sniper. Tell us about your experiences with snipers. What do you remember about the Germans who had sniper rifles?
I never experienced any snipers. Never. We had the whole German army at us, but I never experienced any snipers. We had the machine gunners in the machine gun nests, but never a sniper.
Okay, sir. You know, you mentioned being under artillery fire. Can you talk about being under German artillery fire in more detail? Put yourself in the shoes of someone who's never been under a bombardment. You know, what did you see? What did you feel? What did it sound like?
Artillery coming at you?
Yeah.
Well, if you can hear it, that's fine. It's the moment where you don't hear it, you know it's close by, it's going to explode immediately. That's how you can tell artillery. And as I said, if you can hear it, it's still coming, you know it's going to go over your head. But when you can't hear it anymore, that means it's ready to explode.
And tell us about some of the casualties you saw from artillery. In the movies, they portray a lot of the men being killed by bullets straight to the heart, a clean wound. But in reality, it's not like that. Most of the men get beat up, from shrapnel.
Yes.
Can you describe, what do you remember about the American casualties you saw from German artillery fire?
The medics are quite busy trying to take care of the seriously wounded. They did everything they possibly could because the shrapnel can tear a body apart. Bones, limbs one place, a leg one place, an arm someplace else. Those are the ugly part about what can happen to a human being, what bombs can do to it, what shells can do to it. Tree bursts, where the Germans set everything to hit the trees and burst downward on you. No place to hide. So you find a little pebble, you try to hide behind a pebble. You try to hide any place you could when you're under fire. Deadly fire. That's why some guys panicked. They couldn't take it anymore. They got up and started to run. They were killed. They were shot immediately. That's what the enemy tried to do. Get to your nerves. Get you to run. Now they can pick you off.
You saw that happen?
Oh, yes.
Can you describe, what did you see?
A couple of times where guys, they were like brand new recruits, like I was to start with, and they were under heavy fire. And they forgot everything they were taught. Stay where you're at, stay where you're at. They panicked. They got up and started to run. That's when they got it. They were dead. They were dead before they hit the ground. That's how fast a bullet can do the damage and kill you. Amazing. Hitler gave his orders. Hitler tried to run his army, his navy, and everything else. But if Hitler let his generals do it, we might still be fighting a war. I don't know. But he tried to control it. And all the mistakes he made. The invasion of Normandy. If he had not gone to bed, he could have called his panzers in. It might have been a different story at Normandy. Although I don't think so, because we had the strength. We had our paratroopers. We had our fighting force.
Could you tell us about your experiences on the front at night? What do you remember about being on outpost duty or on guard at night?
At nighttime, you were not sleeping. You followed the traces. You could see like B Company up the road. Somebody's getting hit tonight. The tracer firing. The tracers, every fourth bullet was a tracer. And machine gun fire. Then the artillery starting to set in. And then our lieutenant saying, hey guys, be prepared. Be prepared, it's going to come our way, it's going to come our way. And next thing, there would be a burst. Another burst. And the machine gun fire where the burst of rat is coming right at us. This is at nighttime. This is night firing. You try to stay in your little slit trench that you built for yourself. You just, instead of the foxhole, you put a slit trench, get your body into it. You try to stay hidden in some way, into the ground as much as you can, because you knew they were going to. A lot of fighting was done at nighttime. It's where a lot of advances were made.
Can you tell us about your experiences on patrols?
On patrol? Yes. But the three-man patrol, you only want to get information. You want to try to find out probe the enemy a little bit. Beyond 3 men, like you 5 man, 7 man, now you got a combat unit. And if you're fired upon, you fire back and you fight. And continue to fight until there's no one's firing anymore, dead bodies, or surrendered. The Germans, they had a fighting group with their corps of veterans. They were cunning. They knew what to do. They knew how to play the war game. Until they started to bring in young kids, 15 and 16, and put them in uniform.
Did you come across Hitler Youth?
I didn't come across any young kids.
Yeah, because that's mostly in Germany. Can you tell us about your experiences with booby traps? You told us about that post office, but were there any other experiences you had with German booby traps or mines?
No. Me personally, no. In the war movies, you see some guys where they're on, stepped on a booby trap and they can't move, whatever. I've never experienced that.
When you were in combat, did you ever provide first aid to some of the other wounded men?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And it was again, it was your training. If a medic, a medic couldn't get to him right away because he's busy doing something else, you can help your buddy. So for that moment, you put your rifle down and you take his kit, is in, and take it apart with the band-aids and everything, bandage and all, and you do what you can, sulfadiazine over the wound, wherever it might be at, and just try to stop the bleeding. Now, if he's got a bad leg wound, you want to get a tourniquet around it to stop that bleeding from it. You can take his belt off from his uniform and tighten it around there, and then you can. If you have the time, you have a little note paper, whatever you had, write about serious leg wound, belt tightened, tourniquet tightened on it. Loosen it on every once in a while. And then you just take his rifle, stick it to the ground, and then you leave. You keep on going when you're fighting. But you try to help at that moment. Try to stop the bleeding. Help him in some way. Only once or twice the most, that I did something like that.
And what do you remember about the injuries that you treated? What were they?
Gunshot wound, where the bullet penetrated, broke the collarbone, and he was bleeding up here, whatever. I couldn't do anything about the bullet, but maybe we could stop the bleeding up here. And putting a patch on it immediately, trying to make him immobile, so he's not moving around, and calling for medic. Medic, over here, 10 yards over, medic. So then they knew what to do. And then they had the stretcher bearers. They come running, put the wounded on the stretcher. Actually, it was a horror scene. I would never want my kids to go through it. I feel bad, very sad for this war in Afghanistan. It's over 20 years. People are being shot, killed. Other people, who wears down in Afghanistan? Come on. Open your eyes, read the paper, look at the TV. Get to know what's happening out there. If we hadn't defeated the Germans, you might be speaking German today. Who the hell knows?
What was it like for you being an Italian American fighting in Italy?
Yes, that was strange. Very strange. Knowing it could have been my dad's great uncles, grandpa's relatives, but it had to be done. And that's why many Italians hated American soldiers, because they killed them in the North African campaign and the Sicilian campaign before Italy surrendered. I do have a ring showing when Italy surrendered, October 1943. I do have memories of some of the natives being friendly, and others try to ignore you or wouldn't pay any attention. At the beginning, I knew it wasn't going to bother me because Italy was our enemy. Italy was just like Germany, our enemy, just like Japan, our enemy. So I either kill them or they kill me. And they're going to be the first to go, not me. Yeah, there was that odd feeling, but they were our enemy. How did the German American people, how did they feel about we fighting the Germans, killing their relatives? And my wife was part German. That itself. Her father was a great man. He's a great man. Was a great man. And he brought his children up to respect everything. What else? I don't know. What else I can add to that?
No, yeah, you've covered a great deal. There's only a couple other things. Could you tell us about your experiences with the BAR? What did you think of the BAR?
When I, in basic training in Camp Croft, South Carolina, you had to go in through the Grand Rifle and get in a medal for that. And then they put the 30 caliber machine gun, and like maybe 200-300 yards away, I became an expert. That's what they gave me medals for. It's right on the pictures down there. Expert on the machine gun. And they said, okay, Castelli, now we're going to go for the BAR. And I said, what the hell is a BAR? I didn't know. And they finally told me, the Browning automatic rifle. And when they showed the weapon to me, wow. In the movies, you see the bipod on it. I never used a bipod. You know, you're supposed to let that down, the bipod's like this, and the gun is like this. I never used a bipod. It's too much in the way. If I try to set it down, I just fired the way it was. Let it hang there.
It's a heavy weapon.
It's a heavy weapon, damn heavy. But I loved it because it had such firepower. I could put a clip into it and squeeze that trigger on automatic, and it's a burst of 16 bullets sprayed.
How do you aim from the hip, though?
I did both. Right from the hip area, and if I was prone on the ground, then I was firing that way from the prone position.
But that's what I'm saying. When you're firing from the hip, how do you aim?
You're not aiming. You're spraying an area. You know where the enemy is at. Like on a tree line, for example. You're spraying that whole area. You don't know if he's there or not.
Sure.
But for safety, you spray in an area because you know in the past where they've been. How they all of a sudden jump out or open fire. They come right through the bushes. That's what they did at the hedgerows in Normandy. The BAR is a beautiful rifle, a beautiful piece. I can't say more about it, but I do know this, that after my being to the hospital and getting my piece of paper, psychoneurosis, neurasthenia, anxiety state, what do they call it today?
PTSD.
PCSD, right. So I was a cuckoo then.
How did you communicate back home when you were overseas?
They used to call it V-mail. It's a pre-printed form. And whatever you can, you would write home. You got a break in the firing. You write to mom and dad, your brother, whoever it might be. I used to write to Ida quite a bit, and she used to write to me. In fact, at times, Ida used to send me, she used to write on toilet paper. Because I'd say we ran on toilet paper, we were using leaves from the trees to wipe ourselves. So she would write a letter to me on toilet paper.
Really?
And mail it. So I don't know if she'd say kiss your ass goodbye or what.
You know, while we're talking about Ida, tell us the story of how you guys first got together.
We played in the band, American Legion band, from Woodlawn. She played the glockenspiel, which is the bell lyre, and I played the snare drum and the bass drum. And we got to know one another there. We would sit together because any time we went on the bus, she couldn't carry a bell lyre on the bus, and I couldn't carry my dress. We used to put it in the belly of the bus. So we would always sit together. And she'd tell me about her boyfriend at the time, and I'd tell her about my girlfriend. And then we got to become friendly. And we got together. Oh, right when she asked me to take her to her prom. That was in February of 43. Because I went away in March 15th of 43. And that's how we wrote to one another. All my 3 years plus in service, we wrote back and forth. When I got discharged in the end of March of 46, I saw her a couple of times. We went out. April, I started to think about it. Gee, I'm getting to start to love her. In May, I proposed to her. And she said, give me 6 months. Let me think about it. I said, okay. It didn't last 6 months. She saw me come out of church one Sunday, only 3 or 4 months got by, and she knew she loved me. And she didn't know girls didn't call guys way back then. But very fortunately, I met her sister on a train coming home one day from work. And Annie came up with a great idea. She said, hey, your birthday's coming up. Why don't you come to the house? So that's how it all started. She told her sister, Ida, about meeting me and all. Ida went out and bought me a nice lighter for my birthday. And December, New Year's Eve, we got engaged. I took her out to dinner. I just pre-planned with her parents. And her parents made up with my parents that the two families got together for New Year's Eve at her mom and dad's home. And when I took her to dinner, I proposed to her again, gave her the ring, and we went back to the house now after midnight. And it was all in darkness. And as soon as I had to put the key in the door to open it, the lights went on, everybody was, surprise, surprise! Ida turns to me and said, you rat. And we planned our wedding then. And she said, let me plan everything. So we got engaged on New Year's Eve. Our first son, Michael, was born on New Year's Eve. And then Peter, and then Linda. And Michael was killed in 2000, not wearing his helmet on a motorcycle. Anyway, that's how we raise our children. As I said, it was a nice journey that I've been on. I love the journey.
I know you mentioned you and Ida going together in high school. You got to go to a special event. Can you tell us about that event?
Her prom?
In 1939?
1939. The
fair.
Bubby?
The fair.
Oh, the World Fair? Oh, yeah, we played the World Fair. Oh, my God, 1939, yeah. In fact, we won several awards. And that's when we first saw our television, too.
Tell us about the 1939 World's Fair, please.
The Paris Fair and the Globe. We saw the RCA, the television. We paraded and marched. We were playing like crazy. We were good, really. Good little band we had. They had other bands there, too. But we won all sorts of awards for our rudimental drumming. Mr. McGinty, who was in charge of us, he never wanted us to wear any overseas caps or anything, so he bought these little berets with a gold little piece up here. And one St. Patty's Day parade, Charlie Passwalk and I were playing the bass drum in the back, and I taught Charlie how we can do rudimental bass drumming. I had our drums on a swivel. I could turn the bass drum back, play it both ways, underneath, overhand, backwards, or whatever. And we were getting applause left and right. Bill McGinty's marching up front, and he's happy, he's all get out. And finally found out it was what Charlie and I were doing. And the first thing he went up, he said, where's your hats? We took the berets off and had them in our back pockets. 1939 World's Fair. Wow. Ages ago. Ages.
So just move over a little bit. Yeah, thanks. So like I said, I really appreciate your patience.
No sweat.
I hope this has been okay.
I feel good.
I said I hope the interview's been going okay for you.
I thank you so much. This on now? I've never had an interview like this before. I've only had one other. This is the greatest one. Rich, I got to thank you so much for your questions, and I hope I answered them in the best way I possibly could.
That's nice of you to say,
to preserve what you're trying to do for the future generations.
No, you're doing great. I just have a couple follow-up questions, and then there's a couple stories I want you to repeat, and then we're done, okay?
Sure.
I'll have you talk about some of the pictures as well, but the first question I have, how did you hear about the attack on Pearl Harbor?
We had a football game. We played at Van Cortlandt Park. It was Sunday. It was around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And everybody had portable radios listening to the Giant game, football Giants. And all of a sudden, over the announcement came out at the polo grounds. All military personnel, report back to your units immediately. And they told us about what the Japanese did, bombing of Pearl Harbor on December 7th. It was like a total shock, only because two of the envoys of Japan were in Washington the past couple of weeks discussing problems with Cordell Hill and how things could be settled between Japan and the United States. In the meantime, we were sending out a scrap to Japan. Unbelievable. It was really a sneak, nasty, dirtiest attack ever.
Yeah, they were pretending they were wanting peace while they were plotting how to attack us.
They were planning and planning and planning. But the nicest thing about us, that was in December 6, 1942.
December 7th,
December 7th, 41.
Yeah, just say that one more time.
December 7th, 1941.
Just say the attack was.
Yes. The attack by Japan at Pearl Harbor was on December the 7th, 1941. As President Roosevelt said, a day of infamy. But the nicest part about how the United States worked its way for a little bit of revenge. By May of 1942, Colonel Doolittle flew his B-25s off an aircraft carrier and attacked Japan. And Japan was so surprised they didn't know what the hell hit them. They thought they were isolated, that it couldn't happen. But they were being bombed. And they knew it. And from there on, we continued to do what we had to do. People running to sign up, to join up. People going to the steel mills, wherever they could, making the armament. All the farm machinery plants, turning their John Deere machines for farming into tanks or whatever. FDR showed what we could do.
Could you tell us, when you were with the 3rd Division, do you remember crossing the Volturno River?
Oh my God. You just hit a memory. The Volturno River, on the embankments on the other side, the Germans had put all sorts of explosives. So if you tried to reach up, the explosives would go off. That's when I met an Audie Murphy. I didn't know him at the time. They said the part of our company was to go down near the Volturno River, not to be involved, because the 7th Regiment, the Baylor outfit, they were going to make the crossing. We were to set up a diversion. I was not involved in a diversion because I was stayed on this side. But because of people like Audie Murphy probing the crossing and to show that we were going to attack there to bring more troops out of that other area. His book and the movie is actually true, what took place at the Volturno River. And by doing what we had to do, the 7th Regiment then made the crossing a lot easier, because now they had the boats to go across.
But tell us more about what you saw.
I saw the 7th Regiment making their cross. I didn't see them making it. We knew they were making it upstream. We were safe over here on this side because part of the 15th Regiment, not E Company though, is mostly B Company that was involved in actually crossing the Volturno. The Volturno River was a dirty, filthy river, and those who had crossed it knew what it was like now to be wet constantly until you dried on you. Your uniform, everything dried on you. They got to know what we as veterans at the time learned ourselves. Rain. So that was that crossing. It was ugly. Only because of what the Germans did to the embankments on that one spot where the diversion was taking place. This didn't happen upstream.
When you say it was messy because of casualties? When you say it was messy because of casualties, or?
It was messy because of it was filth. It was a filthy river. It was messy because of what the Germans tried to make of it. They thought they had a slaughterhouse going, that they could have it slaughtered, get us all in midstream. But they didn't know where the actual crossing was going to be when the 7th went in. And the 7th hit them so hard, they didn't know what the hell happened to them. Then it made it easier. Now it opened up a path for us. Once we got on the other side, to Volturno River, then we had Highway 6 is available. Highway 6 was the main route between Rome and all the way down to Naples. And we took over Highway 6 then. And we were able to free our own vehicles, our own tanks, our own artillery, and everything. Sorry for moving like that.
No, that's fine. Could you tell us, when did you actually make it across? So the 7th made the first push. When did you make it across?
Maybe 6 hours later.
And what do you remember about your crossing?
It was easy. Because the fighting now was moving on. It was easy for us to go. It was like if you had an invasion of D-Day, and then you had D+1. Everybody coming in afterwards, the fighting's already gone. There's no fighting there. We had no fighting left. The fighting was all moved up forward.
Sure.
Lucky me.
When you were in combat, did you have any experiences fighting in the towns or the villages, house-to-house fighting?
All I can say is that whatever was in our way, we had to do it. And whether it be the village or town, if a building had to be destroyed, we destroyed it. We didn't have my outfit. We didn't have any hand-to-hand combat. We didn't have any house-to-house fighting other than blowing it up and taking charge of it. If we knew where the Germans were in that one building, we tried to get around the building either way, side by side, over the top, or whatever. we had to take it. Again, it's always taking the high ground, because once you have the high ground, you can see what's happening down in the valley down here. All around. Now you have charge of it. We were there when Casino, Monte Casino, they pulled our company back because the 36th Division, T-Arrow from Texas, that was their objective. They were getting knocked over left and right. So they decided to pull all troops back, and they put us back with our third. We were sitting back on a reserve in a mountain, in a little reserve area, and we could see the planes coming in, one after the other, dropping bombs right on Monte Casino. We could see the bombers coming in. We saw the fighter planes coming in, firing left and right. The Germans that built that casino, layers of steel, rock, layers of concrete, layers of logs, steel. That's why we could never penetrate the casino until finally the constant bombing, and then deciding we could bypass that for a little while and have the Germans butched in. They can't move. Tutti frutti, gone. Everybody had their, but we had a General Lucian Truscott. He was such a man, West Point graduate. He had visions that he passed on down to all his subordinates, that everybody knew what to do. And as Truscott said, if you can't get it done, I'll find somebody who can get it done. Simple as that.
He also had the Truscott Trot.
Oh, yes. You better believe.
What was, for those who don't know, what was the Truscott Trot?
Run. Keep going. Keep on running. Keep going forward. Don't stop. Don't stop. Somebody's liable to catch up to you. Keep moving on. Lucian Truscott. What a general. He went on to become a group commander then.
Can you please tell us, when you were fighting the Germans, do you remember coming across any of their emplacements, like pillboxes or bunkers? When you guys would attack those hills, do you remember coming across strong, fortified positions?
Yes. They were well fortified. Because they were planning and knew what to do. But the planning, if you commanded an outfit, whether it be a squad, a platoon, a company, and you were given an objective, that's what you had to do. You had to make every effort, an all-out effort, to take that. And yes, we took some of those armored places that they had, where they were supposed to be well hidden, well settled. They couldn't touch them. Yes, we could touch them. Particularly we had grenade launchers. You put that on the little missile right on top of the rifle. The old 3, let it go. It'll open doors. It'll open up completely. These are memories of a 96-year-old person who'll never forget 70-some-odd years ago. And just for the video's sake, I might have to add, July 10th, a couple of days ago, Ida and I celebrated our 73rd wedding anniversary. As Ida's doctor said, I couldn't stay engaged for 7 days. How long is 73 years? I keep on saying, it's not a trip, it's a beautiful journey. By raising our children raising children, our children making children. And everybody loves a family.
Absolutely. Tell us, sir, what advice do you want to give to future generations?
I'm going to start that answer with a joke. This television man is questioning all 90-some-odd-year-old people as to the longevity of marriage. And he said to this one guy, well, what do you owe your longevity to? He said, married, getting late in life. He said, how old are you now? He said, I'm 96. Well, when did you get married? At 92. So anyway, you work together. My true answer to what your question was, I always sit with Ida to discuss what we're going to do. Sometimes we have arguments over it. We didn't have a smooth 73 years. We had our battles, whether it be kids going to school or money problems or whatever it might be. But we worked it all out because we sat down and talked about it. We didn't pull a gun and shoot and say, hey, you're dead, forget about it. We sat and talked about it. And that's how it all comes to a nice answer. Hey, that's good. You have to work at it. Don't be a cause of the problem. Be a solution to whatever the problem might be. And as I remember my dad always saying to me, son, you want respect? You have to give respect. Respect everybody. And you'll see the rewards are going to be great. And yes, they have been. Meeting you. A telephone conversation from California. Meeting you. This is beautiful. To sit and talk with you. And then the questions you ask. You're asking knowledge for the future generation. And I'm trying to give my honest answers as to how you can last. Marriage is not something you say, okay, I marry you, bingo, bye-bye, so long could I'm divorcing you. No, what was the problem? Let's sit down and talk about it. Oh, you read the Sunday paper too long. Come on, give me a good reason. Ida and I would sit there and talk about it. I'll tell you another quick little joke. About forgetfulness. The guy's walking through the park, and he sees a fellow sitting on a bench, and he's sobbing. He's crying like anything. He says, yeah, I better walk over and see if I can help him. He walked over and said, old fella, old timer, seems to be the problem here. Can I help you? He said, yeah. He says, I don't know, I need some help. When he's sobbing, his shoulders are moving back and forth. Well, what seemed to be the problem? He said, well, I married a girl 30 years younger than me. Oh, that's the problem. No, not the problem. She loves me. She can't do enough for me. She's the greatest woman in the world I've ever met in my life. She makes me breakfast. She makes me lunch. When it comes time for dinner, we have 2 cocktails before dinner. After dinner, we take our brandy. We go and watch TV. And after watching TV, she taps me on the leg. She says, honey, it's time for us to go to bed now. And he said, well, that's great. He said, well, why are you crying? He said, I forgot where I live. That would make him cry. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No. There's just a couple of things I wanted to make sure we covered. If you could talk to the men who were killed in the war, your buddies who you grew up with, the men from the 3rd Division, if you could talk to the men who were killed, what would you want them to know?
I'm carrying on what you tried to do. We're going to carry on this fight all the way because you did not die in vain. That would be my answer. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that, Richard. I'm sorry.
No, you nothing to apologize for. It's understandable. I mean, those were young men with their whole futures ahead of them. Even they were your friends.
Well, that will be my answer to them. You have not died in vain. We will carry on what you planned on.
Absolutely. You mentioned a lot of the buddies who you grew up with going into the war. You didn't get into the war until 43. Do you remember seeing a lot of blue stars and gold stars, sir, in the windows?
Yes. Mrs. Harnett right across the street, my good friend Buddy, who was killed, her son, her second son, she had a gold star. Jackie Wren's parents having a gold star hanging. They used to be all blue stars. Kupla Caro, his parents hanging the gold star. Yes, I saw right where I lived in Woodlawn.
And I only have two other questions for you. What kind of person do you want people to always remember you as?
A person who helped. He never looked the other way. He never looked the other way. He jumped in wherever he could. Not interfere, but try to help in some way possible. That he was a human being. And I do thank everybody that I see every once in a while thank me for my service. That makes me feel great. It also makes my wife feel tremendous when we're together and wherever we're at. Little Boy Scout saying, "Oh, thank you. Can I ask you a few questions?" And some little Boy Scout got a whole book of answers, questions. And they come back the next month. This all happened when I was in St. James Rehab. He came back the next month with another list of questions. He wouldn't go to anybody else, but it was him. I'll take another little sip.
You were about to say you want people to remember.
That I'm a human being. And that if you want my respect, then you got to give me respect. And I'll fight for you anytime I have to. I did that all along, whether in high school, going to class. One of my biggest thrills was getting the letter from Washington, D.C. Congratulations. You made it as a practitioner, getting your commerce attorney. I love that. Most enjoyable. I applied it. I applied it to good use. I'll tell you a true story about selling, if this helps anybody. My company asked me to call on this one account that they lost. So I went into this little place. I saw the secretary, and I said, "I'd like to see the person in charge of transportation." With that, I'm in the foyer, the hallway. The man behind says, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Eugene Castelli from APA Transport. And here's my card." I gave him my card, he tore it up. And I said, "Well, I have a job to do. My vice president of sales asked me to find out why we lost this account. And I'd like to know who you are so I could tell him." So he handed me his card, and I tore his card up right in front of him. He was shocked. His secretary looked up at him, he looked at his secretary, he couldn't get over it. I did something like that. I said, "You tore up my card. Why can't I tear up yours? I came here on good reason. I want to try to help. And right away, you're fighting me." Bring him in. Bring him in. Got the account back. The problem was over $17 and change on a delivery receipt. I had money on it. Went to pay him. No. I want to check with your company. I called George, our VP, and I told him what was what. Make sure you give him your cash. I said, George, he won't take the cash. He wants APA's check. He's no problem. Tell it to the mail. We got the account back. Nice. But this man could not understand because he said after, because George, vice president of sales, wanted to meet him, and he said to George, "You have a great salesman here." He had the nerve to tear up my card. And George said, "Well, you tore up his." And it came the case. Progressive selling. Know what you're doing. Have your plans. Just don't do something rash. Have plan B, plan C, plan D. Have it all plans laid out. And everything will work out fine in life. Whether business, married, school, children, it'll all work out if you understand what the problem might be. I don't know what else to say.
What can you tell us about the American casualties in your outfit? What do you remember?
I remember this one young fella, good-looking blonde kid. We got on the same truck, delivered us to our 3rd Division, 15th Regiment, E Company. And we just got assigned to what platoon we were going to be, and we went right into combat. And he was gone. He got a bullet right in the forehead. Didn't last 2 seconds. Didn't know his name. First sergeant didn't even know his name. He got his name when the papers were all brought together. Here's his transfer. Yeah, that hurts. That hurts. It still puts you scared. And I'll never forget that young doctor. How can you be scared? And what I said to him. No wonder they gave me that piece of paper. When we were running through this open field, this new recruit, the blonde guy, he was only about 5 or 6 feet away from me. And all of a sudden, with the machine gun fire and everything coming at us, I saw him go down. As he got down, his helmet come off. There's a bullet hole right in his forehead. That's how fast life can end in the infantry. This one incident I recall very, very, very vividly. These 2 Italians, Italy had surrendered, and they're coming down out of the mountainside, coming towards us. And Captain Worshall saw them. He said, Castelli, find out what's wrong with them. They should know something. They're coming out of the mountains. They must know where the Germans are at. So when they came down, I saw the 2 Italians, I said, WW2. Where are the Germans? Well, they grabbed a hold of me. Bison, Brooklyn. No, Brooklyn. I want you to answer me a question. Where are the Germans? WW2. And on the ground, I drew a circle. I said, Germans. And he showed the path where we were heading, going on and on up the hill. It was a little ravine. And then the captain said, wait a minute, stop. We stopped, and the Germans putting out on the ground, machine gun nests on either side of the ravine, come right on down to where we were heading. So Captain Worshall, being a smart man, he's already been fighting all the way through North Africa's history. He said, here's where we're going. We're going to break up the company. We're going to go outskirt the whole area. We might go a mile out of our way on either side, but we're going to get them. Because if we don't get them, they're going to hurt some of our troops coming up the valley. We outskirted them all the way around, and we crawled on our stomachs. We got to where they were at. And at his signal, we started dropping our grenades right down into them. Finished. Germans were wiped out. The machine gun nests were wiped out. that saved many, many lives, including ours. That was it. That was very, very vivid. And when those grenades went off, the echoes sounding, it came right up out of there. We could hear it all, and they're screaming. They were screaming agony. And that was the end of it. That was the end of it. The Germans were bloodied pups. Their uniforms were covered with blood. You couldn't tell who was what anymore. They were gone. But we had to do it. Otherwise, they would have killed some of our Americans if we let them live.
And did you also participate in the actual throwing of the grenades?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I threw 2 grenades. Because I had 4. 2 grenades on each side. I knew how to throw, because we just lobbed them down there.
How close did you have to get?
I was like, from where they were at down in the hole in the ravine, I was maybe 10 feet away until we crawled. They didn't know we were there. Till we got up close, then we just dropped them and we ran backwards, fast. Because then an explosion, as I said, on a grenade there are 40 pieces of grenades made up. And when those 40 pieces scatter, you better not be near them.
How many Germans would you say were in each machine gun nest?
There were 3 and 3. The machine gunner and his 2 helpers. So there's 6 of them involved. 3 on this side, 3 on this side. Anyway.
And so, because of your ability to get the Italians to tell you where the Germans were, you saved a whole bunch of lives.
Including ourselves, including me. Damn right. Dos Stadodesh, my best Italian. Where are the Germans?
Did they give up the information easily?
Oh yeah, no sweat, because Italy already surrendered. They were going to do anything they possibly could. When I drew that little circle, and I said, Dos Stadodesh, and they said, we're here, we're going this way. And they go, no, 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 go this way. And that's what we did. So we couple of chocolate bars to them. Tante gracias. That was it.
That was absolutely perfect. That was wonderful. We're pretty much all done. Yeah, we're gonna have to because I need to pack up. Were there any other stories about combat, frontline, fighting the enemy that you would like to describe?
I don't think so. Combat is combat. Nighttime, obey your non-com. Don't try to outrank him. If he tells you to do something, that he's doing it because the right way it's supposed to be done has been tried before, and it's been successful before. So you do it now, what he's saying. No, I don't know of any other stories that I can tell. I can't.
Well, I appreciate all your service. Do me a favor.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service, and God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much, Joe. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'm going to unhook
Oh,
you.
yeah, oh, yeah, right. We need that.
Be a photo. Sir, if you just move your head and give me a big smile. Oh, that's beautiful. Keep smiling. Just hold that up. And if you could just say, what are we looking at?
Baby?
Just tell the camera, what is that a photo of?
A German prisoner.
If you could just say, this is...
This is a German prisoner that we took during World War II, the Naples Fallujah campaign.